Today, I would be dealing you with the overview of power inverters, topologies, and its applications. So, the flow of the webinar would be general power electronic circuits and the basics of inverter. And we will be moving on to the applications of the inverter, where all these inverters are being used. And coming to the next one, what are the different classifications? And then we will be seeing one particular inverter in detail so that you will have the basic idea about how the inverter is, how it is working, etc. with respect to resistive load and an RL load, resistive and inductive load. So we have these four major classifications. So I might be having some applications where we require DC. Maybe we have a DC motor to be operated from the grid to the residential area or to the place where you're using it has to be converted to DC. So we go in for using a box which is called as a rectifier. So a rectifier is a static unit which will convert AC to DC. So that is the first level of classification of a power electronic circuit. So whatever the available power is DC. So that if you have to convert it into DC for the specific applications, then we go in for the power electronic circuit which is called as rectifier. Now, this DC would be a fixed DC. Whatever we get it from AC to DC converters, the rectifier would be a fixed DC. Then we go in for using a chopper. So chopper is a device which converts a fixed DC to variable DC. So fixed DC voltage, maybe if it is 48 volts, it will be shifted to 12 volts for the specific application, or it could be shifted to 5 volts, or it could step down to 3.3 volts also. So the chopper is the next classification of your electronic converters. So moving on to the inverter topic, whatever we are discussing. So there might be applications where we would convert DC to AC. So we were seeing about the basics about the power electronic circuits, which was since we are getting AC and alternating current from the grid, so we would be having our loads which are DC. For example, it would be a DC motor load, so that would be requiring DC supply. So we needed a power electronic device which is nothing but a rectifier which would convert AC to DC. So rectifier will be a static unit which will be converting AC to DC. So moving on to the other applications where we use IC chips which are operated at 3.3 volts or 5 volts or 12 volts. So if suppose the input voltage is going to be 48 volts and the required load voltage is going to be 12 volts, then I needed a DC-DC converter, which is nothing but a chopper, which converts DC, a fixed DC to a variable DC. So that is nothing but a chopper circuit, which is the power electronic, which is one more part of the power electronic circuit. Moving further, we have got some applications like in electric vehicles, we have the induction motor or the AC motors which are used for propulsion. So the motor requires AC supply, alternating supply. So, but the supply, whatever is there, the storage unit which is available in the electric vehicle is going to be a battery source, which is nothing but DC. So the available power is direct current, which is DC, but the load, which is nothing but the induction motor or the propulsion motor requires AC. So we are in need of converting DC to AC. So there comes the power electronic unit, which is called as inverter. So inverter is the device, a static device which converts DC to AC. And this, if you could see over there, this works as inversely to a rectifier. A rectifier is a unit which converts AC to DC, whereas inverter converts DC to AC. And we have one more major set of classification for power electronic circuits, which is called as AC voltage controllers, which converts fixed AC to a variable AC with variable frequency also. So if you want to vary the voltage or vary the frequency of the given AC system, then we go in for the power electronic circuit, which is called as AC voltage controllers. So these are the major classifications of power electronic circuits on the whole. But today we would be seeing about inverter in a little bit detailed manner. So the thing, whatever you are seeing over here, the cross-sectional view, the cutaway view, is a rotatory inverter which was used in olden days. As you could see over here, you have two main parts over here. One is the motor and the other is the generator part of it. Okay, the whole set was being used as rotary inverter. So initially the DC supply is given to the motor. So the motor is a DC motor which takes in the DC supply and rotates. Okay, a motor is a device which takes in electrical energy and converts it into mechanical energy. So the motor now produces mechanical motion. Okay? Okay, so this particular mechanical motion is now given to the generator. So generator is a unit which takes in mechanical energy and generates electrical energy. So this generator is otherwise called as an alternator, AC generation. So it is called as alternator. So this generator now takes in the mechanical energy and produces a three-phase supply. So that is going to be AC. So the input was DC, which was given to a DC motor, and with the output of the motor, which is mechanical, the generator was made to rotate. This was the input for the generator circuit. And this generator, which is nothing but the alternator, now produces its corresponding AC supply or AC voltage. So this was the older unit which was being connected to get inverters output. Okay, but as you could see over here, we are involving a motor and a generator. So there are rotations involved over there. So there are more mechanical losses which was incurred. So the efficiency of the whole system is lesser. So people went in for finding out an alternate for this particular drawback. So what was the drawback? Efficiency was less because of mechanical losses. So we went in for finding out a solution for this, where we are removing the mechanical losses. So we are in search of static devices, and in due course of time, our switches have enhanced. The research in the switches has enhanced, and so the invention of inverter came into existence. The inverter involves a static device. It has switches which are just operating with PWM. So it's a static device. There is no moving parts in it. And this inverter converts a fixed DC voltage to a variable DC with variable frequency also. So you can fix the frequency and the voltage as per the requirement for the load. So inverter is a static device which converts DC to AC, and the input is going to be fixed DC. It's not going to vary. If it is 48 volts, it is 48 volts. But this AC requirement can be changed. So it could be 12 volt at 50 hertz, or it could be 100 volts at 100 hertz. So this can be fixed. So depending on to the operation of the switches in the inverter, the frequency and the voltage can be fixed. Moving on to the applications of inverter. There are many applications, and the important ones have been listed over here. It is used in AC drives, in your solar PV system, a photovoltaic system, wind energy conversion systems, automotive systems, especially in your electric vehicles, induction heating, aircraft power supplies, metros, marine systems, uninterrupted power supply. So you call this as, in short, UPS. So we would see a glimpse of some of the applications in detail. So this first application is about a solar PV system. So you could see over there PV arrays which have been placed on the top roof, on the rooftop, and the energy is whatever is being produced is being transmitted bottom base. This flow of energy tells that the energy whatever is produced by a PV array could be used for the residential loads itself, the home applications, or it could be inverted. Now whatever is produced, whatever energy which is produced in the solar cell or the PV system is DC in nature. Now your grid is able to withhold only AC. That now there is a need for you to convert DC to AC. The available power from solar is DC, so we'll have to convert this to AC so as to feed it to the grid. So we bring in the power electronic device which is studied today, which is inverter. So the inverter converts this DC to AC, and through the electrical panel, that means with the protective circuits and with the metering arrangement, we feed in back to the grid, whichever is extra, the extra power which is available in extra to the residential load, that is being fed back to the grid utility. So this is actually bidirectional. If the solar supply is very less, we would be able to take the power from the grid. So the meter would be reading the reverse reading, and the previous and this current reading would be subtracted, and the net reading would be just shown for the household application for metering. So this is the first application with your PV system. Moving on further, the hot topic of today would be electric vehicles. Anywhere you see, we will be having the basics about electric vehicle. So this shows a short block diagram or the main parts of the electric vehicle. As you could see over here, we have the battery charger. So the main storage element or the input storage unit is going to be the battery system. So the battery can be charged with a DC source from externally. or you could replace the battery with the charged battery itself. So the whole system starts from the high voltage battery. So this is DC in nature, but you could see over there for propelling, there is an electric motor which requires AC. So there is a need for you to convert DC to AC. When the electric motor is requiring AC, but the input is going to be DC, we have introduced inverter. So inverter is a device which converts DC to AC. So to get this particular level of voltage for the inverter, we have a bidirectional converter. This could be a DC-DC converter. So this voltage, which is 48 volts, can be boosted to 72 volts. So the bidirectional converter is going to be a DC-DC converter, which boosts it up to 72 volts. And this 72 volts would be the input for the inverter, which now trigger or which converts into AC and propels your motor, which acts as an input to the motor and propels it further. And in extra to this main work, you have some auxiliary loads. You have ancillary loads in the sense you have the headlights or your stereo systems or your AC working on it. So these things would be requiring a different level of voltages. So when we have a DC-DC converter, which converts this high voltage battery voltage to a lesser voltage and then gives into the smaller loads which are there in the electric car. So this is the second important example where an inverter is being used. For propulsion, the motor is AC. So from battery, the more available energy is going to be DC in nature. So we are converting into AC with the help of the inverter. Today's topic, whatever we are going to see in detail. The next application is again with your electric vehicle shown over here. The main source of energy in electric vehicle is going to be battery. So the battery has to be charged, and then when the vehicle is propelling, it is discharging. So for charging, the energy is being taken from the grid, the main power supply. You can charge it in the residential place itself. So through the house, you're just getting it, and this is going to be the V2G, vehicle to grid unit. So you can either charge or you can feed in that particular energy from the electric vehicle to the grid also. So moving in further, we could just see the yellow color structure shown over there. The yellow color structure tells you how the energy is being transferred from the grid to the electric vehicle. So from the grid, it goes to the residential houses. In the residential houses, you have the electric vehicle where we are charging it. And the charging unit is going to be V2G unit. And while you have some deficiency in the grid, while we have some power cut, so you can feed back the battery voltage to the grid. Okay. How is that particular flow of energy now? Now this battery, whatever is there in the electric vehicle is been initially charged. So this fully charged battery now acts as a source. So this is now converted to AC. So this unit now acts as an inverter, which converts DC to AC, and it feeds that particular energy through the grid, through the power units of your residential house. In the forward path, the whole unit was acting as a rectifier. It converted AC from the grid to DC, and it was charging the electric vehicle, which is the yellow color line which is being shown over here. And in the reverse part, when the electric vehicle is feeding the supply to the grid, then it is working, the V2G is working as an inverter, because DC battery is having DC and this is being fed back to the grid. The grid needs AC, so it works as an inverter. So this is a bidirectional converter. In the forward direction, it works as rectifier, and in the reverse direction, it works as an inverter. So the next example is about a possible business model. Now, this would be in future what you would see in India, or in abroad. It's already there. So we have the power units, power companies, which are having wind energy, or it could be solar, or it could be the grid supply itself. So the total power company now feeds in their power to the transmission lines or the utility. Okay. So there you have two different types of consumers. One is the residential area where you'll be having individual cars. Okay. So you will be able to charge that electric vehicle through your residential apartments or houses, through your residential houses. But there would be fleet operators like Olas or any major fleet owners. They would be taking more amount of power. So they would be purchasing the power from independent parties. So the independent parties would be obtaining power from the grid, and they would be increasing the quality of the supply, and they would be feeding it to the fleet suppliers. So the fleet is also going to be more of electric in near future. So this is going to be one of the best business model which is going to be in near future in India, as far as India is concerned. So the next to give him more idea about where all inverters are used. Inverters are used in many applications. So these are just a glimpse of all those things. So the next application is going to be in the windmills. And as you could see over here, the windmill, the power whatever is generated is going to be in alternating in nature. So this is AC. The power generated is going to be in AC. And this particular power is being given to a wind turbine controller, as you could see over here. So this wind turbine controller now converts that AC to DC. That means it works as a rectifier, which is converting AC to DC. Now this particular DC is now converted to AC through an inverter. Why? Because the power from the windmills are fluctuating. It is not at constant voltage. So we require a constant voltage to be given to the loads or to the utility, which is nothing but your or to the grid system. So to float it out to a constant or regulated voltage, we use this controller as well as this inverter. So we convert this to DC so that it is easy for us to to boost or buck the voltage. Boost means increasing the voltage or decreasing the voltage. So that this would be easier for us to use an inverter over there, so to convert DC to AC over there. So AC is being at the ends of the inverter, which could be given to AC loads directly, or it could be given to your utility line. So each of that loads has its own meter for just measuring the total amount of economy involved in that. If there is any extra power generated through the windmills, it is being dumped into the resistive load, because the whole system would be designed for a specific power. So if the total amount of power produced is going to be more, then it will be dumped into a resistive load so that these systems are safeguarded. So this is one more application from your renewables point of view. So as per the point of today, renewables are photovoltaic cells as well as your wind energy system. So we have seen both the examples over there. And the other topic which is of highest interest is going to be electric vehicle. We have seen that in that particular block diagram also, inverter plays a major role. And moving on to aircraft industry, any aircraft, whatever we take in, the available energy is going to be only the battery. So battery is going to be the whole source. Okay, so you have a main energy source and you have a reserve battery also. So the main, you have a switch over here, which now switches between the main energy source and the reserve battery, depending on to the amount of energy in the battery. If the amount of energy in the main energy source is lesser, then it shifts to the reserve battery, or from the reserve battery, it shifts to the main energy storage element. So there is a auxiliary switch which switches between the two batteries. Now, from the battery, the available energy, as I've told earlier, is going to be in DC. So this particular DC power has to be converted to AC. So we bring in our power electronic controller, which is nothing but your inverter. So the inverter converts this DC to AC, which is used for propelling the electric motor, which propels the aircraft. The other common topic, which is already seen in our residential houses, is UPS. You would have heard this word UPS, uninterrupted power supply. So how is that particular thing working? That is nothing but an inverter concept. It's nothing but the basic inverter concept. So what exactly is that? The UPS is this particular whole unit what we are talking about. So what would that consist of? It would be having a rectifier unit as well as an inverter unit. This is the grid supply, where the supply is being fed to the residential house. So you have two breakers over here. So the main supply, actually, when the supply is there, when the grid supply is there, it goes through the top power flow to the load. The switch over there, the top one with the breaker, with the bypass breaker, it goes to the load. So when the power is there from the grid, there is no interruption in the supply. So it is directly connected to the load. And in the same time, during the same duration, the part of that particular source is being converted into DC, and it is used to charge the battery. When you have power, when you have the grid power, the same power is being utilized to store the energy in the battery. And when there is a power cut or a power failure, then the source will not be able to power the load. So what would happen? These breakers on the top flow, on the top one would break in the sense it will be opened, and the flow would be from the battery. So how would be the flow? The flow would be from the battery through the battery breaker. This is DC. Whatever energy here is DC, but the load requires AC power. So it flows through the inverter, through the output breaker to the load. So the flow is from battery to the inverter to the output breaker to the load. So during the power cut or when you don't have power, now this already stored battery now takes care of the load with the help of the inverter. Now this is the inverter concept which we are going to see now. Previously, it was being charged with the help of a rectifier, but the power is restored. Then the whole utility will be taking care of the full load, and it will be charging the battery also. So there will be a battery which will be storing, where the output breaker will be open. When the source is fully on, output breaker switch is in off condition, because only the source will be supplying the power to the load, and it will be supplying power to the battery. Battery would not be supplying. Both the source and the battery cannot supply at the same time. So the output breaker would be in off condition. During the power off condition, the main power is off. So we don't have power in the main source. So what would happen? The normal breaker is off. So there is no power here. So there is no rectification happening. But the battery now converts this DC to AC and feeds into the load. So these are the major applications where we have seen that inverters is used. Inverters are used in all the applications. Now coming to the classification of inverter, what are different types of inverters which are available? So depending on to the nature of source, sources can be a current source or it could be an voltage source. As you all know, electrical main parameters would be current and voltage. So you have two different types of sources, which are current source and voltage source. So depending on to the type of sources available, the inverters are classified as CSI, which is current source inverter, and VSI, which is voltage source inverter. And furthermore, voltage source inverters are again classified with respect to the supply as single phase inverters and three phase inverters. You all know that AC supply is of two different types. One is single phase and the other is three phase. So this depending on to the supply, voltage source inverters are classified as single phase inverters and three phase inverters. Furthermore, depending on to the operation and the type of configuration of the devices, single phase converters or other inverters are otherwise classified as half bridge inverter and full bridge inverter, while three phase inverters are classified with respect to the conduction. Three phase inverters would be having 6 switches, and if 3 switches are operating for 180 degrees, then it is called as 180 degree mode of conduction. If they are conducting for 120 degrees, then it is called as 120 degree mode of conduction. This is with respect to the supply. We have the output, as we have told that inverter is a device which converts DC to AC. So it's an alternating waveform at the output. That alternating waveform could be a square wave, or it could be a partial square wave, which is called as quasi-square wave, or it could be pulsed waveform, which is called as PWM. So depending on to the output what we obtain, we can classify the inverters as square wave inverters, quasi-square wave inverters, and PWM inverters. This is with respect to the input source. We classify these type of inverters. Depending on to the connections, depending on to, so inverter would be having inductor, capacitor, switches, etc. So depending on to the connection of the devices, we can further subdivide the inverters as series inverter, parallel inverters, and bridge type inverters. So bridge type inverters, we have already seen it as single phase inverters. So this also comes under bridge type. Okay. Depending on to the switching off characteristics of the switches. As I told you, inverter is a static device. So a switch is used for controlling the output voltage. So depending on to the way how the switch is getting off, can be classified as line commutated inverters or forced commutated inverters. What is the meaning for line commutated inverters? As the name indicates, when the input is going to be DC, we don't have any zero crossing at all. But at the output, it is going to be AC. So we would be having an inductor and a capacitor. So this switch, inductor and a capacitor, would be generating a sinusoidal value so that the current through the switch now crosses zero. So when the switch current is passing 0, we would call that as there is no current in the switch and the switch might go off. So that is called as line commutation. When the current through the switch has gone off, the switch is off automatically. So that is line commutated. Since the input is going to be DC, there is no possibility in some cases to obtain a zero current, because there is no variation in the supply there. So constant DC means the voltage is constant over there. So there is no zero crossing. So you will have to forcefully turn off the switches. So you have separate techniques for it, separate circuits which has to be introduced to forcefully switch off the switches. That comes under forced commutation. So these are the major classification of inverters, depending on to the source, depending on to the connections, and depending on to the commutations.